Just a reminder that you've been conditioned your whole life not to have power. I would like to propose a mental exercise. Out of all the meals that you enjoy in one day, think of what you had for breakfast this morning, or what you would have wanted to eat for breakfast this morning. Now, imagine I say, you shouldn't eat pork. Let's just say that I haven't lost you, and that you think to yourself, well, why? Food is safe. In countries that are third world, eating pig would be dangerous because of intestinal worms, because of the way they live and eat. Now, you might say, oh, that can't happen in like the US, for example. Oh, that can't happen in the US. Well, perhaps not, but industrial practices are extremely cruel, and that does not rule out the possibility of biological infestation, right? So, all this to say, even if you're not religious, even if you're not Hebrew, right? Oh, you might think, oh, I love the taste of pork. Whatever. Esoterically, there is more than just the obvious reason why the Hebrews won't eat it. I mean, it says in the Bible that you shouldn't eat it because of the way its feet are, which relates to the way it lives. But esoterically, they're very similar to us. So it's almost as if you're being a cannibal. And because of modern practices, everything that is pumped into them makes pork, if you really look at it, if you really look at how you feel, depending on how sensitive you are, how you feel when you eat pork and when you don't. Like, I have felt horrible, and I don't know if it's because of the way they're butchered. Like, they can see the pig in front of them being swept up by a machine and being killed, so there's that anxiety before they die, and then the terror when they know their head's about to be lobbed off. All I know is that all those things combined, I do not eat it. And unless it was like a pig from a farm, which in rural states that is quite the possibility. In Iowa, we had a picnic where all the chickens were farm raised, so were the eggs, and the cheeses were fresh from farmers, like neighbors, in a place where they have the big pig, ranches. But because of where you live, you have the opportunity to have a safer choice, right, with your neighbors. All that to say, back to the breakfast analogy. How hard is it to eat breakfast without pork? Because eggs come to mind, right? But what goes with it? Bacon and egg? Bacon and sausage? It's really hard to avoid pork when you really think about it, which it's possible. It's very possible, especially with like turkey substitutions, and I would advise you to do that. But all this to say, it's not about the pork. What it is about is who taught us that those choices that are now an unconscious part of our day were the right thing to do, and was it done with the intention to control us in a way. Like, I know that might seem far-fetched, but a person who is religious, like the Hebrews, would rather die than accidentally eat a piece of pork. Like, they'll probably be like, show me the package where it says turkey, or kosher or whatever, or beef, right? That is a choice that I made knowing all those things, like applying a practical use to esoteric knowledge, and in how many ways in our life, not just the breakfast, but you are what you eat, right? Not just the breakfast, but obviously we all have to make a living, but have you consciously made the choice to make yourself, to break through the obstacles? And why is it that this world plots against us to fail so hard? Those energies that have tragically stifled the gifted are now lifting, but we have to consciously walk through the doors that are presented to us, right? Sometimes it's a bit of a juggling act, but yeah, it starts with those small choices, and I will daily and try to call attention to these little things in everyday life that I see. This is why I live the way I live. This is what needs to come to the public eye. Like, there's this picture floating around the internet that I love. Look, I'm not a MAGA per se, but like, I'm not a MAGA, but sometimes people are put in places to bring changes. He's a ball breaker, and I don't know how I jumped train of thought, but with the age of Aquarius, you should be seeing the opportunity now to not just step into a position of power, but stay there. Many times, as influencers or what have you, people will reach, a milestone of success, and then they get slapped down by these powers and principalities. Namely, like those running the deep state. So I'm just saying, I want to give you practical applications of esoteric knowledge daily, so that you can use it in little pieces, little increments that will stay with you, hopefully, for the good of all. Thank you.